Hello, listeners. Welcome back to another episode of the Talking Parra podcast. Week number 21, round number 22. Today, we've got 3 out of the 4. Last week, it was 2 out of the 4. So we've got an extra one back this week off the bench. Tonight, we have Hayden from the Entertain House. We have our illustrious host, Adam. And we have myself, Troy. He's back after a week off from the Parra podcast. Let's get straight into it. Adam, over to you, mate.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks, Troy. Look, I'd just like to first of all say thanks to our listeners. The feedback from last week was the best episode ever. Best episode we've done yet, Hayden. So kudos to us. Obviously, Troy, it's great to have you back.
I hope you've thanks, mate. I'm fighting fit and ready to rip in tonight and, make up for last week. So
look, I hope you've learnt your lesson, though. I know the Parramatta-Penrith game was exciting. I know there was a bit of Pride Week stuff going on, but you and Matt sticking your tongue down each other's throat in excitement gave you both the Rona. So, look, I hope you've learnt your lesson. Don't get too excited. Don't kiss Matt.
Whatever it takes to get the win.
That's it. You must have really given him a good pash. He's still down. So, obviously, look, it was a pretty exciting week. We never got to hear about your box. We were jealous, so we didn't want to hear about it anyway. But it's good to have you back. And obviously, look, the three amigos back together. And we wish Matt all the best, who's still recovering, but still doing some wonderful things for us on social media. So, Liam's going to miss this Friday night's game as well. So, he'll be filthy with himself catching that Rona. But, look, that Parramatta-Penrith game was an experience. So, let's start with last week's game. Obviously, Parramatta victorious there at Four Pines Park, Brookvale Oval, whatever you want to call it. Lotto Land has had a few names now. It's always going to be Brookvale Oval. 36-20 over Manly. Look, the score obviously 36-20. We obviously missed a few easy kicks, but 7 tries. That was the most impressive thing for me. 7 tries without our halfback shows how well we did play. Lots I could say. I know we're probably all going to touch on it, but I want to give Gutho a huge rap first of all. I don't think he's been at his best this year, especially the last few weeks. Some errors are stuck into his game. There's no doubt he's trying, but sometimes over-trying. I've had a bit of a criticism over his last options, his passing, his last touches and stuff, and sometimes putting kicks in. But we needed someone to step up on Friday night to take the pressure off young Jacob Arthur and just let him come into the game. And in my opinion, that's one of Gutho's best performances in a Parramatta jumper. Funny enough, it always seems to be against Manly. Everyone goes, you're forgetting how good Dylan Brown was, but I haven't forgotten how good Dylan Brown was. It's just what we've come to expect this year. He's been brilliant every week nearly. So he did take a fair bit of control, and he did a lot more kicking, and they both really let Jacob just, ease his way into the game. Look, you've had the week off, so you should be fresh with ideas. Troy, I'll go to you first, your opinion on the game.
Yeah, look, it was a crucial game for us to get the 2 points. As you mentioned, Gutho, he was outstanding. Probably is doing a bit of goal-kicking training this week. But, you can't blame him for those. There were some pretty hard shots. But it was just like the week before with Warner Blake and Reg and Brycey Cartwright playing against their old club. Gutho was playing against his old club this week. Have we got anyone who used to play for South in our team this week? I can't remember. I don't know, but it'd be handy. But, him and Dylan Brown were outstanding. That solo try we saw from Dylan Brown, absolutely amazing. 60-metre effort, big fend on the centre, I think it was. Massive fend. But my man of the match, I know that Dylan Brown got the fans' vote on socials, but I think my man of the match was Jacob Arthur. He was going into this game under enormous pressure, as we all know, both from his own side, having to run the team in place of Mitchell Moses, but also, as we know, from Parramatta fans and other fans as well. But he had an outstanding game. He was a little bit quiet in the first half. He was finding his feet, I think, in that first half. But then that second half, to throw that Harbour Bridge pass over Jason Saab's head to Warner Blake to score that try that we see in our backgrounds, that shows some vision. And also the kick for Will Penasini as well. That shows a little bit of vision as well, to know that the fullback wasn't at home and he's put that kick through. They've played footy before in juniors, so they sort of know each other's game a little bit. So it was great to see him play a great game and be happy after the game as well. So, and it was good that it was 14-all at halftime. It was a little bit concerning, but the boys ripped in the second half and really showed that they can match it with these big sides and at away grounds. And also I thought Sean Lane was pretty good too.
For sure. He's definitely becoming one of our most consistent players. And, you know, like I've put a bit of heat on him for some of his performances early in the year as well. It was nothing
I still think he got 2 try assists.
No, he didn't.
Oh, come on, he did.
We'll give him one. Hang on, what's he got? Let's go to the stats.
He's got it down as 1, but I reckon it was 2. Just because Gutho threw the last pass. So
Gutho he drew him past the fullback, which means
that's right. He gets a try assist. But if Laney doesn't offload that, it was a wobbly old offload too, by the way.
He got a line break assist.
Well, yeah, okay. So does that count for my 2 try assists then?
I think you've got it on points anyway. So I'll go to you, Hayden, quickly. Your thoughts?
Yeah, great game from Jacob Arthur. Obviously, the criticism in the media, we spoke about it, ads, and then earlier in the start of the season. So really good to see that. I got a little bit worried just before halftime with the scores leveled up when Jake put in a kick that was way too big. But he really learned from that, and he backed it up in that second half, and he showed the confidence, and it's something I love to see. So really looking forward to him donning that number 7 jersey again this week. But I think I'm going to give man of the match to Clint Gutherson. I think I might have a couple of weeks ago, but as you mentioned, probably his best game in an Eels jersey. He was involved in 3 try assists, or as Troy would like to say, 2 try assists. He scored a try of his own, and just a huge game, as you said, stepping up, running the ball, looking very dangerous. So, yeah, he's really hitting some form coming into the finals. So I think Clint Gutherson was my man of the match, and you took the words out of my mouth. Both the Manly boys, or former Manly boys in Sean Lane, was phenomenal also. I want to give a dishonourable mention this week to Isaiah Papali'i. Where was Isaiah Papali'i in this game? Because did not see
he did his job. He did his job, but he wasn't really outstanding like we've come to see him be.
It's funny. One of the, obviously, the podcast, and everyone knows the Cumberland throw, people had him listed as man of the match.
Oh, no.
I was thinking, he didn't. He was there, but this wasn't one of his breakout games. You could see there was a bit of fatigue in him, but he did. Look at his stats. I love the stats. He ran for 136 metres off 14 runs and 34 tackles, which is definitely, not his best game, but he was there. He made some efforts, but anything else?
One thing I will say that I was disappointed about Sean Lane. Well, probably not just Sean Lane, but that
not getting a try assist.
No, the Manly second. Well, he probably did get a try assist with them. I think it was the Manly second try where the ball went up, the kick, and there just wasn't any.
He made no effort to jump.
Ball. I mean, it wasn't just Sean; it was those around the ball. There was just no competition for the ball.
Yeah, he sometimes forgets that he's 11'10". Like he honestly does. All he has to do is put his hands up like this. There, so I can do it. And I think he catches the ball.
I think it was Kohler's try that I agree with you, Troy. I was saying to Adam that we've got these players recently starting to kind of contest for the ball going up from those kicks from Moses Brown, who it beat. And I said that's what they need to do when Jake is getting involved like that. And I thought early on when that Kohler try, I thought this is exactly what I said to Adam. They're not contesting for the ball. And, yeah, that's why I wanted to
But on the flip side, they did learn from that because you saw Dylan Brown come from about 50 metres away and knock that ball over the dead ball line. So they obviously learned from that and
so that's it up. That's the efforts we're getting used to Dylan making. I'll run through some other moments in the game. First of all, I'll give my man of the match. I'm going to go Gutho as well, but I'm going to give some honourable mentions. I thought Dylan once again stepped up, was superb. I thought Jacob under pressure really come into the game. Wonga once again on the wing had an excellent game. Our back 5 all scored tries, didn't they? So I would have liked to have a little cheeky multi on that, see what that was paying before for our back 5.
I missed out on it, but did any of you get the BYO sports bet promotion? No?
No, what was
Michael Sevo to score the first 2 tries of the match was 61-1.
Nice.
Yeah, I missed out on that one as well. I looked at it, and I thought...
He's got an excellent record against Manly as well, so I wish I did see that. I'll run through some stats quickly. I thought Reg was huge. 19 runs, 203 metres, 18 tackles in 54 minutes. Madison, 19 runs, 182 metres. Obviously didn't finish the game with that head knock. We'll get to that later. Lane, 19 runs, 189 metres. That's just our forwards, our strongest performing forwards. Gutho, 207 run metres. Dylan Brown, I like this and I don't like it. Very smart by Manly, but 39 tackles. That is huge for a 5'8", 39 of 41. So
more than Reid.
More than anyone. He's made the most tackles in our team. Reid made 34. And look, smart by Manly. They've obviously ran the attack at him to try and take him out of play in attack to put more pressure on Jacob. So very smart tactics. Once again, it's the tactics we don't see our teams do, but we see other teams constantly come up with those moments.
Most of the line breaks and such were on the other side of the field, but
they were 100%.
So they were attacking Dylan's side and then coming out.
They were switching, but that's what we see Manly do against us, and that's what was the frustrating thing was in the second half. Once again, we talk about it. We don't seem to be able to slow the ruck down for Manly, and then we seem to pin every time we play them. You know, the opposite, they get to lay on us as long as they want. It seems to be a common theme for us. Look, as someone who plays the game, there's the old saying that you don't mind if you get beat on the outside if they've got to score your tries wide. We saw Wonga get beat a couple of times. I think we covered it pretty well in most circumstances. We obviously had the speed to cover it. And we had the speed to get across there. A couple of times Manly took some poor options, but to me it shows our defensive system seems to be a little bit better with Tom Opacek in the team. I know it was on the opposite side, but separating Wonga and Micah seems like a smart play. I'm trying to be very careful what I say about that, but I just think that you see them both. I'm going to say it. Fijian players like to have that flamboyant attack, don't they? It's always an attack first.
Known for their attack.
They're not exactly known for their defensive systems or ability to catch eyeballs. But to be fair, they actually were quite. We saw Micah have a shocker off the Andrew Davey kick, but that was just one of those. That wasn't a high ball. That was an absolute fluke of a kick that was floating everywhere. But I think by putting Tom back in the team, it's defensively got us a lot better. I know Will's obviously a lot more inexperienced than Wonga, but Wonga on the wing, if he's going to shoot up, we saw that Will had enough speed to cover back and get back to help him out. So, look, if it was on the other side, if Wonga seems to shoot up when Micah does, it always puts the pressure on the half to go cover that break down the sideline. So, I also thought Gutho's positioning was a lot better. The try that Jason Saab scored, it's probably one of the most I've been impressed with. Yeah, he didn't make the tackle. Well, he did make the tackle. He just went over the top, and I think Saab got a bit lucky where he landed, but I thought Guthenson's effort there was a lot better. So I know we've said it before, we need to get Parra. I think they're playing Penrith every week. We need to get Gutho to think he's playing Manly every week if we can get that hypnotist in. So, but back to what I was going to say was my most impressive thing for the game was we didn't seem to go away from our game plan and we appeared to be patient. And we got the results in the second half where we started running through them. That's what impressed me the most. We built a bit of pressure. We got on with the game. So we took a lot of pressure and let Jacob just work his way into the game. And, we just started running through them. So, to me, that was the most impressive thing without our halfback out there.
Just two more things to say. Again, I'm not 100% sure what the coaching mindset is, but we did see Junior and RCG off the field for a long time again, and you saw that momentum. We lost that forward momentum. I think maybe with this week's inclusion, and we'll get to it later, of Ogden, that hopefully may change a little bit with replacing Makatoa. But
maybe
even the commentators said the same thing. Like they noticed that when Junior and RCG are off the field, the momentum's lost, and as soon as they came back on, it got back up.
And that's what I said in our group chat. I sent the message to her, I think when it went to 2014. I was happy with that 4.6 point deficit without our starting forwards out there. Like for us to maybe 6 points behind and still have our two strongest forwards come back on, it gave me confidence we're going to go on to win that game, which we did.
Yeah. And the second point was let's just hope that Brad stayed away far enough from that positive rat test in the press conference room, because he had to have his press conference outside in the what do you call it, alleyway.
He's in the toilet way. The way to the toilet.
Yeah, alley. Yeah. So let's hope all the Parra guys stayed well away from that.
I was sitting there, I obviously had the young film Friday night, so I didn't get the game. I was sitting there watching TV thinking, what the hell is going on with these press conferences? They're taking ages. I'm half asleep trying to stay awake for it. But I saw his daughter stitched him up again as well. She got him.
Yeah, well, because of where the press conference was, she thought that he left the game. So she was ringing him up saying, oh, that's what he said. He goes, oh, she's probably ringing me because she thought I left.
She's getting him again. She stitched him up about 4 times now. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Anything else to add, Hayden?
Not really, no.
We'll talk about the Wonga try quickly. So we've all got as our background. Phenomenal put down. Nice pass from Jacob. We'll see a massive momentum change. Yeah, Troy, there it is. It's one of those ones you usually see that we're the unlucky team. That little bit of green grass you can see in mine. We're the unlucky team that's usually the other way around. We're touching the white line by the tiniest amount. So you can't quite see it was there. So massive momentum changer in the game, and obviously went on to score. So I'm looking at it now. Well, that try was in the 55th minute. We scored 4 tries in 17 minutes. So, everyone said
if you know, because I didn't really notice, but as for Manly, I thought he was their best player on the field. When did Kieran Foran go off? Because I thought on that left-hand side that he was very damaging in attack. And I'm just wondering if it was when he went off that we started scoring those tries and the momentum started.
He only went off in the last 6 minutes.
Okay.
So the game was done when he went off.
And congratulations to Wonga Blake, 150th NRL game on Friday. And got to meet Pye. And
I saw he scored in his 50th, his 100th, and his 150th game now. So,
well, let's have him for 200 as well. He might score there as well. But
anytime try score in that game.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, I did have something else, but I've forgotten it.
You've forgotten it?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
it'll probably come back to me when we talk about next week's game or this week's game.
This week's game, 3 days' time. Let's move on. Obviously, this week. Oh, no, I've done it again. I do it every week. What have I forgotten? We're going back to our bowl predictions. Let me get the old Insta up. Give me a second.
That's what it was, Adam. We talked about it. The Kieran Foran shoulder charge on Micah Seaver after the second try? Could that have been a
probably should have been.
Try?
The ball was put down. It was an active foul play, unnecessary after the try was scored. So, as you touched on, Micah's obviously coming back from a serious knee injury. He's almost gone through the fence, first of all, but it only takes one jolt, one wrong step, and your knee can go again. So, look, Foran was probably shitting himself with Micah running at him, but he had plenty of time to pull out. He wasn't going to stop anything from happening. But it was one of those ones I didn't even check. So, the other thing I meant to touch on is the Madison try as well. He brought that up. We know it cost me a bit of money, so I'm a bit filthy about it because I need a Madison anytime try scorer. But
gamble responsibly.
Yeah, 100% gamble responsibly. But even though, watching the post match, I was flicking between NBN and Fox Sports, so I get the shits and frustrated with both of them. For you non-Newcastle viewers, that's the 9 NRL on 9. And it was just pissing me off because Johns and Fitler and whoever else was on, they're all talking about saying, if you slow anything down enough, it's no try. He catches that ball clean if Davey doesn't catch it. In my opinion, he had a grip of the ball when Davey hit it. So are we going to start calling every time someone goes for a one-on-one strip and slightly dislodges the ball as they put the ball down, we're going to start calling them no tries? Because that was just an excellent reflexes take. I'd hate to see a call like that cost someone a game, whether it be us or against us. Because, like I said, it was a bit of luck, obviously, but the way you got through it.
Absolutely. I mean, the try that in our background, you got to slow that down to make sure you get it right, to make sure he hasn't put his legs out. But something like a try, the no try to Madison, definitely that needs to be played at full speed. Because as you said, it was a split second of a moment, and because I was watching the try live and I've gone, how did he get that? How did he get that ball? It just happened that fast.
Let's go to our predictions. I went with a 25-24 scoreline. I was pretty confident for a while there, actually. When they got to 2014, then we got to 20 all. I was like, we're on here. Especially the way Gutho was kicking us 24, we're on. So then, of course, obviously it didn't happen. We went away and won. So quite comfortable with a 16-point win. But Troy went 24-12. Hayden went 26-16 and Matt went 28-16. So Matt gets the points for that one. Obviously, 4 points off Manly's and 8 points off us. So it's with 12. Hayden, you probably went a bit too close to him there, mate. 26-16, 28-16. You didn't give yourself much chance.
You should have went higher.
Yeah.
A little bit higher.
The boys' first try scorers. Ryan Madison, Adam. Obviously, that's what was in my multi anyway. Will Penasini, Troy, Junior Paulo, Hayden, and Junior Paulo didn't say Hayden. Hayden said Junior Paulo. And Matt scored and Dylan Brown. So, look, Will scored before Dylan. So I think you get the points for that one, Troy, even though it wasn't the first try scorer. And then the boys' bowl predictions. Adam went a Jacob Arthur field goal. We saw Gutho try and slot one at full time.
How shocking was that?
I was just hoping they gave it to Jacob, and Jacob could have tried to slot it. I would have claimed that. Troy, Sean Lane, 2 assists and 1 try. He didn't get a try. He only got 1 try assist, not Troy assist, so he's nowhere near. Hayden's nailed his with 4 points or less halftime score. It was 14 all. And Matt went a Tom Opacek double, so he was halfway there. So Hayden gets the points there. So, who gets it for the week? Hayden, no.
Did I get one for once?
you got the bold prediction, but it wasn't that bold. But
can't we just give 1 point each and then?
No, you got to have an overall winner. I reckon Matt gets it because Matt was closest to
the
score. He picked a try scorer in Dylan Brown, which was last try scorer, and Tom Opacek got one of his double. So,
okay. Well, yeah, give Matty the points.
I know you're struggling at home, Matt, so you get the points. I hope that makes you feel a bit better. All right, we done. Let's get on to this week. Parramatta versus South Sydney. Friday night, CommBank Stadium, 7:55. I think it's going to be raining, but apparently it's already close to a sellout. There's a few limited tickets available. So I've got a mate who tried to buy some tickets and said he had to buy them in the nosebleeds. So always a good result when that happens. South Sydney fans, we know they can turn up in numbers. They're obviously on a bit of a roll with a smashing victory last week where they were scoring at a point a minute for quite a while there over the Warriors. It was a training run, and that's what I'm going to get to. It was probably too easy for them. And I think this is our chance to actually get South Sydney. They're $1.60 favourites at our home ground, which I think is incredibly disrespectful the way we played the last 2 weeks. If Mitch was playing, I reckon we'd probably be $1.90 each. Obviously, we'll go through the team list now because we'll touch on a few things there. But look, the back line's obviously the same as it was last week, 1 through 7. Madison named at lock, Papali'i, Lane, Paulo, Mahoney, and Campbell Gillard. The bench of Ogden making his debut. Can we confirm he's making his debut? He didn't play last year. No, he's definitely making his debut.
It's not his NRL debut.
It's not.
No, he's a Bulldog.
Yeah, he came over from the Bulldogs. So
how many games did he play for the Bulldogs?
14. Maybe that would be my guess. Quite a couple. Maybe more. Let's find out. I'm curious.
Keep talking.
No, I'm going.
It's his Eels debut. He's made actually 45 appearances.
There you go, mate.
He's years old.
He debuted in 2018 at the Bulldogs. So
he's played more than Kai Rodwell is what we're getting at.
Yeah.
I believe he played a bit of dummy half before Jeremy Marshall-King factor. I believe he was a bit of... Yeah, he played a bit of hookup.
He must have been a bit smaller then because he's 106 kilos and 192 centimetres. So he must have been a bit smaller.
I reckon
maybe that was his brother.
I'm calling a Furphy then. Must have been another bloke with the name of OO.
But yeah, congratulations, Ogden Afiki, I think it is, making his blue and gold debut.
Yeah, I'll go the rest of the team and we'll touch back on that. So Cartwright, Kafusi, Murata. The 18th man is Makatoa. Then we go on with Simonson, Rodwell, Russell, and El Zarkham. I thought El Zarkham might have been the next Eel to make a debut. He's obviously a second rower. We're seeing Lane and Papali'i get through some big minutes. For me, I don't think Makatoa will actually be dropped because I think Madison is a very, very, very short price to not play this week, given his history of head knocks and the head slam he copped. They classified as a Category 2 on the field. I don't even know what that means. It's obviously not as bad as a Category 1. But
Category 3 is worse, isn't it?
Category 3. Well, Category 3, you can't come back. I know that. Whichever one's the worst, you're automatically ruled out when you're laying there motionless. So it was a clear head slam as well, so no penalty given for that. There's one bloke I don't like seeing getting head knocks is Madison, because we know how close his career has come to finishing a few times. We obviously see him back in that lock position, which is his best position, and it's taking him a lot of confidence to get back to playing the football he is. But anyway, I think we'll see Makatoa come in to start at 13. Or we might even see Murata start at 13 and Makatoa come onto the bench with Madison full out. But we've been wrong before. We had Jacob Arthur out last week for all money. With Gutho going to 5'8", and Parham coming in. And now we haven't even got Parham named on the extended bench this week. So did he get hurt last week or anything? Does anyone know?
He's starting fullback for New South Wales Cup. So there
you go. He's long way been dropped. Looked like he was going to get a chance to prove himself a fullback, and all of a sudden he's not anywhere near. So, yeah, that's how I see that team shaping up anyway. Look, the inclusion of Ogden, going into the start of the season, reading obviously things about training and stuff, was how well he was trained, how big he looked, how strong he looked running against the first team, and then when running with the first team. I was really impressed at, I can't remember which trial. Was it the Penrith trial? Both our trials were actually put on TV, weren't they? Fox Sports this year. All trials are streamed live. But one of the players I was really looking forward to watching, and for the size of him, he just didn't impress me in the trials. And then he obviously didn't impress Arthur either, because we hadn't seen him till obviously now round 22. So he gets his chance this week in round 22. Obviously, he's been impressive in New South Wales Cup, but when you speak to people that watch New South Wales Cup, they still haven't really highlighted him of standing out. So I think it's an interesting choice. We know he's a big boy. We know we've struggled with obviously losing Paulo and losing Campbell Gillard at the same time. So I think you'll see Murata and him come on at the same time, and he'll have that bit of size there. But I don't know, does anyone else know much about him? Obviously said he's a lot older than I thought he was. He's 26 years old, but it says the 31-year-old. It makes me seem old. But do we know much about him? What can we expect from him? Is this going to be like a bulldozing player, or that flamboyant style that we see Junior play?
Nah, I don't think it'll be flamboyant style. I think he'll just want to do his job off the bench. As you said, probably come on when Junior or Reg comes off, just to keep that size up. South Sydney got a big forward pack, so that's maybe why he's been included into the side. As much as I love Makatoa, I just don't think he has that size about him to play front row. And he just doesn't have that impact that I have wanted to see this year off the bench. Good player, tries hard, and he's tough, but just doesn't have that impact or that size, I think, anyway. So, yeah, maybe Ogden's inclusion is because of that size. I actually think maybe even next week against the Bulldogs, we might see another one or two either debutantes make their debut, or Akai Rodwell just slip onto that bench again, maybe, just to give that little bit of first grade experience just before the finals.
Can you give me what game that would be for Kai Rodwell, his debut game? Or six debut?
It will be his sixth game, yeah.
I'm looking through New South Wales Cup from last week. We won 30-12 against the Blacktown Workers Seagulls.
We won all three grades too, so that was good to see.
Well, a number of players backed up. Cartwright backed up on the Sunday after playing the Friday night, and Makatoa backed up. Cartwright got through 39 minutes, and Makatoa got through 37 minutes. The strange thing for me, and obviously Arthur is seeing something in Ogden, I don't know, so we don't know if it's size or what, but he played 41 minutes. He had 9 runs for 77 metres, 1 offload and 22 tackles. You look at Lamy Gregg, who was, put down as one of our biggest, going to be our biggest things this year coming off the bench. 14 runs, 135 metres, 1 offload, 27 tackles in 2 less minutes in 39 minutes. So he stood out a bit more. I'm going to do a bit of research as we're live here and look through Ogden's stats, because I'm just trying to find justification besides his size to why he's there. And the week before against Penrith, who were first place, we got beat 25-24. 14 runs, 155 metres, and 24 tackles. So that's a lot more impressive in 53 minutes. His minutes are up there for sure. But, you look at someone like Nathan Brown in that game, 26 runs, 206 metres. So I don't know what Brown's got to do. I think he's done. I know you touched on Troy. You expecting Madison to be out this week, or?
Look, it's probably give him up until obviously Thursday, just to see how serious that head knock was. We've spoken about it before, his history of head knocks. So, potentially it's going to be a big blow. Obviously up against Cameron Murray as well, one of the former players of the competition. So, I think you'll find up to Thursday, and then he might be a late withdrawal, possibly. Hoping he plays, though.
For sure. Do we know if Nathan Brown's picked up an injury at all? I saw he's not named in New South Wales Cup this week as well.
Not too sure.
He didn't play last week against Manly either, so I don't know if he's been chopped around and gone or fully cut, or I don't think really anyone knows what's going on with that situation. Going back, we talk on it every week. We probably should have mentioned it before, but Isaiah Papali'i again is in the headlines. He's actually come out and made half a statement or a full statement. There's reports going around that saying they left out information, which we know journalists do like to do, but said he'll think about it in the off-season, what he's going to do. But obviously he was prepared to go there for the coach, which was Maguire, which we thought was the case, obviously, the New Zealand history there with Maguire formerly coaching the Kiwis team. That's my dog shaking, if anyone heard that rattle. Sitting next to me being annoying. Ice, is he staying? Is he going, Troy? Me and Hayden obviously spoke about it last week. What's he doing?
Well, the other, what do you call it? The other thought that came into play tonight, but I don't think it's going to happen, is he may even go to the Warriors, go back to New Zealand. Apparently his girlfriend still lives in New Zealand, so they're separated at the moment. So not separated, but they're separated by countries. But I don't think that'll happen. I think he'll want to stay at Parramatta. It's going to be very hard, I think, to get out of his contract. Well, I mean, we see players get out of contract all the time, but he's taken on the Tigers and they're sponsored by a lawyer firm, so that might not be the wisest move. But
they couldn't beat the NRL though, so.
Well, they didn't have the opportunity. The NRL just vetoed that straight away. But look, it's a bit of a messy situation. I mean, people are saying he should honour his contract with the Tigers. He knew the Tigers have sacked coaches in the past, mid-season and things like that. They've had like 5 coaches in 10 years or something like that, ridiculous figures. So, look, I don't know what's going to happen. I hope he stays. And potentially Parramatta have offered him the amount that they probably should have in the first place, maybe. I don't know.
See, I don't agree with that, just for the face that if you sign for a coach and, when you talk to a coach, they're looking to build something around their style. I think Ice obviously has to go have a sit-down with Tim Sheens and Benji Marshall and see what they've got to offer, no doubt. It'll be a respectful thing to do, but he's signed to play for that coach and what he sees moving forward. If he goes across there and all of a sudden, not saying they will, but Tim Sheens goes, look, mate, I see he's a 40-minute impact player off the bench. That was his plan when he came to Parramatta. He's meant to be a bench player to give us impact in the front row, and he just got better and better. Worked his way in the starting team. Now he's seen as 80-minute second rower. But I think he should be out of his contract on that basis. He signed for a coach. So they've made the change to sack their coach. That's the decision the club's made. And by that, there's got to be consequences.
Wouldn't he have had a clause in a contract, though?
He should have asked for it. I don't know if there is one. No one.
Really I don't know if there is one either, but you think you would have asked for one saying, I want to come to the Tigers with Matt Maguire as the coach.
The thing we have up our sleeve is we're looking to offload Nathan Brown as well. We know the Tigers are interested in Nathan Brown, so I think that solves that issue. We can offer them Nathan Brown to keep us. As to him going back to the Warriors, well, that would be the most disappointing. It'd be as disappointing. I'm not going to talk too much about this one, but when a club pretty much kicks you on the curb and says you're not good enough anymore, e.g. Reed, and then you go make your name somewhere else and you go back to the club, I think it's a slap in face, it's a massive slap in the face to the club that's given you the opportunity. I know the reason we couldn't keep Ice was stated because of salary cap reasons. I still think we had something planned to sign someone bigger and it hasn't happened. But he was on, 150, 200,000 for us when he came across because he was really given that chance. Very low figure, and what they offered him 650 or whatever. The Warriors are about to pay Murata, 650,000 a year, 2.6 million over 4 years. which for me is crazy. If the Warriors are to offer Isaiah the same, it means they're, pretty much 5.2 million across 4 years in second rowers. It's a lot of money to be paying for second rowers. A lot of money. I think you see clubs kind of have one really solid, expensive second rower and I don't know what kind of money Sean Lane's on, but I can't imagine he'd be on the money that Ice is going to demand. So, I don't know. It's an interesting one for me, but we can talk about it all off-season and it's probably going to come up as well. But I can see him staying. I think the bromance is there. I think he wants to stay. And I think it'll also depend on how far we go this year as well. If we go on and win a comp and he's living with his best mates and we give him the money, well, there's no reason his partner can't move over. I don't know what she does for work, but I'm sure she can find something over here if he's on $650,000 a year.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a lot different these days as well because the COVID rules of travel and living have eased from 2020, 2021. So they've eased a little bit now. So that, as you said, would make it easier for her to come over to Australia if need be. But the other player that I'm potentially a little bit worried about is your favourite player, Adam, is Hayes Parra, because he obviously wants to play first grade. He's got a lot of players in front of him. Does he potentially go back home to New Zealand?
I said this a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones where you've got to let him go, don't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah, he's a Kiwi, so let him go back home as well. But then if he goes back home, then he's going to have Charles Nickel-Clotstar in front of him there as well. So
yeah, I don't think home's the right option for him. I think we should look to do what Melbourne did with the Tigers with Harry Grant. Also had Cameron Smith there. We know that Hayes isn't going to start at fullback over Gutho. Brad isn't the kind of coach that's going to make that decision no matter what, even if it was to move Gutho in a different position. I think we should look at doing a loan deal to, maybe someone like who could use a fullback. That's the thing. That's where you got to look at. I thought this year would have been the perfect opportunity to offload him down to Melbourne for the remaining games. When they were looking for a fullback, it would have been perfect for him. They were chasing Reece Walsh. But, I don't know, you send him to Redcliffe for a year. We know they're looking for players next year, but you kind of want him to be in a good structured system as well. I don't think going to the Warriors is going to help his game. I don't know how long he's under contract for. We'd obviously have to sign him on a deal, then loan him out. But I'm all for the loan system. It works so well in soccer as well. Loan deals work perfectly for young players. Like you see, a young player sign for Manchester United and get loaned to, a third division or second division team to get some game time, or young Australian players get loaned back to the A-League. That'd be perfect for us. Like, why can't we turn around and sign him and loan him to a lower club? E.g. the Knights, when they play Kalen Ponga at 6 next year, put Parra at fullback. There's lots of options, isn't there? Like, you got to look for a club that needs a fullback and try and give him some game time. But I don't think sending him somewhere to play him on the wing is going to help his game. And that's what we've got to look at. But,
do you think he could be good? Do you think he could be a good player? We've obviously seen him in the position. Do you think he could be good off the bench? Because I think with the recent talks of Andrew McCulloch's potential retirement, I think he could be a good fit for the Dragons. I think that providing the Dragons a bit of that spark attack, you could see the Dragons getting a new number 9 as such, and Hayes coming in maybe to that 14 jersey. Kind of like Greg Marzou, former winger at the Titans, now stuck on the bench in the 14, but coming on and providing a bit of impact.
It's one of those things where you've got to look at if they get the game time, isn't it? That was what worked so well with the Harry Grant deal is he went to the Tigers. He might have been getting 10, 15 minutes at Melbourne off the bench, sitting behind Cameron Smith. He went to the Tigers and was one of their standout players playing 80 minutes most week. That's what I said. You've got to find that club, and I'm struggling to think of a club.
Well, I don't think it'd be Newcastle because there's talk that Bevan French is going up to Newcastle next year.
Yeah, he'll play on the wing though.
Yeah, but as you said, if Kalen goes to 5'8", then Bevan will go to fullback.
He could, but my personal opinion is, and this is one of the reasons we let him go, is I don't think Bevan will ever be a fullback in the NRL. We know he spat his dummy and obviously left Parramatta for that reason. He wasn't given a chance at fullback, so he says. But he's not playing fullback for Wigan. He's playing on the wing because Jai Field's playing fullback for him. So I believe that's why he scored so many tries. If he scored that many tries from fullback,
that's just because he backs him up, mate.
Well, they're both
quick. He is in the number one. He's playing fullback.
He's named in number one, but he's been playing on the wing. I think Jai Field's named in 30. I say they have squad numbers over there, and they wear that jersey all year.
Yeah, but they do, obviously mix it up a bit on the field.
Yeah, 100%. But that's what you can do with someone like Bevan. I don't know. I'm struggling to find somewhere where Parham's going to go, and as sad as that is, Super League might be his option. Because he does deserve to be playing first grade football, but I guess we're just that strong in the fullback thing. But it's kind of all we've got as well. If, let's say, Gutho did go down injured, we kind of need Parham, don't we? So, it's a bit of a hard one, isn't it? So
we'll have a think about it.
Yeah, I can't think of any clubs besides Redcliffe. We know Redcliffe are desperate for players, so. But like I said, you want to have him in a good structured team. Like he probably learned a bit under Bennett. There's no doubt. Let's get back to this week's game. Anyway, we've been majorly sidetracked. Parramatta versus South Sydney. Look, we don't really need to say too much about it, but obviously South Sydney, their biggest threat, he's come back in excellent form. I'm looking at the New South Wales Cup team here. I'm thinking, where the hell? What am I about to say? Because I've still got New South Wales Cup open. Obviously, Latrell Mitchell, he's been in awesome form. He's really given them that spark. I actually had South Sydney missing the 8 this year. They still could, if they, as we went through before when we were off area predictions, but they still could miss out in the 8. But for me, Latrell's given them that spark they needed to really kickstart their season because they were, up and down. We saw it, his first game back was against us and he cut us to pieces. It was wet conditions. We weren't at our best. But my opinion is they're there for the taking this week because of the easy game they had last week. It was way too easy. We had a tough game. We had to fight for it. Be close to a sellout crowd once again at Combank Stadium for the second home game in a row. I think we'll get over them. I think we need to niggle Walker a fair bit. I think we know how easy it is to get off his game. And with an inexperienced Ilias there, if you get Walker off his game, it puts way too much pressure on Mitchell. So, Hayden, I'll go to your quick thoughts on this week's game.
So the inclusion of Ogden on the bench, as you mentioned, for Regan Campbell-Gillard and Junior Paulo going off, I think he'll get some game time, or I hope so. I hope it's not the last 10 minutes like we've seen with other players all year. That would be a bit of a waste of an interchange. You mentioned Ryan Madison, obviously carrying an injury. Really hope he can play. He'd be a huge out, but you mentioned probably Murata Niokore, the suitable choice to move to lock there. But our record against South Sydney hasn't been good, but we've really hit some form at the moment, which is great to see.
Yeah, Troy?
Yeah, look, South Sydney, bit of a bogey side for Parramatta at the moment. I think it's the last 5 or 6 games we haven't beaten them. They've got a pretty good record at Combank Stadium against us. Obviously, they beat us in the semi-final a couple of years ago. Going to be a big clash of the forwards. South Sydney are always known for their forwards. Obviously, their left edge as well, and that's where they always get us as well. They scored a lot of their tries, Alex Johnston, especially down the wing. So hopefully last week's game against Manly with Jason Saab, they've probably trained all week for that and learned from that to bring it into this game. I think that the couple of tough games in a row that we've had now, Penrith and South Sydney, Manly are doing us well in this lead up to the semi-finals, where every game to go is like a semi-final, even though we're playing the Bulldogs next week. But they're one of the form teams of the competition at the moment. But each game is like a semi-final going into the semis, so it's conditioning us for those times. So as you touched on, it's going to be raining on Friday, 70% chance of rain. So it may be a low-scoring game, a grinding game. But let's just hope we get off to that good start and like we did against Manly and score the first 2 tries. That'd be good. And then not let them into the game.
Yeah, wonderful. Look, as you touched on, obviously they're a bogey team for us, and I think they beat us on the edges. And most games will come in and say, our forwards need to get the job done. I think our forwards will get the job done easily over South Sydney this week. For me, the reason I think we'll win the game is the inclusion, and I said how much our defence has tidied up on those sides under Tom Opacek. So I know Johnson will obviously be on the opposite side, and he seems to score a couple of tries or a hat-trick against us every time he plays us lately. But
massive test for Will.
Yeah, 100%. 100% it is. But if you look at their centres, know Johnson gets a lot of ball. If you look at their centres in Tass and Paulo, I feel like we've got them covered. They've got on the other wing, they've got Isaac Thompson. So I think Johnson's obviously, we know that left-hand side's their go-to side. So I think we've got the speed to cover it out there with Wonga on the wing now as well. And that could be what favours us. So I think we can win the game, and I think we will win the game. I think it's going to be one of those games that's going to be nail-biting for us and frustrating at times. For the neutral fan to watch, I think they'll be calling it one of the games of the year. We touched on it earlier. I know we're a bit one-eyed, but for me, this is a grand final preview. I've been saying it for weeks. He hasn't quite reached that height yet, but for me, the way that Latrell Mitchell has come back has reminded me a lot of Haynes' 2009 form. He's not there yet, right? He hasn't done the amazing things that Haynes did do. And if you look at it too, you can also look at what Ben Barber did for the Bulldogs. Was that 2012? No,
2012.
2012, yeah. Funny enough, both teams didn't win a comp. So lucky we do play them in the grand final because they won't win the comp. But for me, I think that this game reminds me a lot of that 2009 game around about the same time. I think it was a few rounds earlier. Remember the Parramatta versus the Tigers at the SFS? And you looked at that game and said, whoever wins this game can go on a run here and has a chance of winning the comp. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think if we win this game, we get the confidence. We play the Dogs the week after. We're looking for some revenge against. Then we've got Brisbane in Brisbane, which is practically a Parramatta home game every time up there. And then we finish with a limping Melbourne. And they are a limping Melbourne because they've got injuries left, right, and centre at home. If we can do the double on Melbourne and the double on Penrith in a year, just as a sidetrack, and I've been at all four of those games, that would be fantastic. But I think we win. I'm going to go to my bold prediction straight away. My first try scorer for this game, as you can see, I've prepared absolutely nothing again. My first try scorer for the game is Wonga. I'm just going to put that out there now because I've got no other option. I think Parramatta will win this game. I said it's going to be an entertaining neutral game. I've got Parramatta to win this game 32-30. Yeah.
Oh, don't do it to me out of
that. That's six tries to 5 with Gutho kicking 4 from 6. And my bold prediction is for there to be 62 points scored in the game, obviously. But my bold prediction is for... I'm struggling for a bold prediction this week, actually. My bold prediction is for the back three of Parramatta to all score a try. There you go. I know it's not that bold after last week.
Is that so bold?
6 try. I've got nothing else this week. I don't know. It's just going to be one of those games. Actually, I'll go better. The back three from both teams to score tries.
Ooh.
That's tasty. So you start getting bold. I'm going to work out what that multi's worth.
Go ahead, mate. You go first.
This is going to be a very tough game. On paper, you mentioned we've really got them covered, but the mind games are going to be there, and missing Mitchell Moses is a big out. God, I want to tip us because I didn't against Penrith a couple of weeks ago, but I think this is going to be the loss we need, and I think, spoiler alert, I think this could be the last time I go against us for the year. I'm going to go the Rabbitohs here. I haven't been impressed by them all that much this season. And their clash against the Sharks, I thought the referee really kept them in it. So this is a test for them, in my opinion. You mentioned that they could drop out of the 8s. I think they probably need it more because we've got those games that we can arguably win coming up. I'm going to go the Rabbits by 6. I think it'll be high scoring, just like you. I'm going to go 24 points to 18. I was going to go Wonga first try scorer, but you know what? I'll change it up. I'll go Reed. And bold prediction, you know what? One of our bloody bench hasn't scored in a while. So I'm going to say that a Parramatta interchange player will score.
Oh, come on, mate. That's 4. That's 4.
All right. Murata Niokore to score a try. So
that's really he's going to start.
So Reed, Wonga, and Murata is paying $56. So Murata Niokore to score a try.
Well, before we get to Troy,
it's on my power mode. Let me just move it across. Keep going.
Before we get to Troy, I've gone my multi. I've chucked it on this for the punters at home. We're gambling responsibly. But if the back three of Parramatta of Micah, Wonga, and Gutho, and then Johnson, Thompson, and Latrell all score a try and Parramatta win the game, thanks to the power play provided by our kind folks at Sportsbet. Still looking for some sponsorship, as you see. For $5, $212, 1,060 returns. So wouldn't that be a nice night down at CommBank Stadium? Anyone want to run through Matt's? I'll get Matt's up. Troy, you do yours, and then I'll go through Matt's.
Okay, so I'm going to go score prediction. I'll go 20-16. I think it's going to be a close game. I was thinking 16-12, but I'll go with 20-16. I'm going to go Sean Lane, first try scorer. Maybe one of those crash over plays close to the line. And bold prediction. It gets me every week because I don't think of one, and I really should because I know it's coming. A bold prediction. Look, I don't want to put. I could say something about Jacob Arthur, but I won't put a lot of pressure on him. I'll just let him play.
I did last week. I had him to kick the match-winning field goal.
Yeah. So I'll just let him play his game. So a bold prediction.
Gutho to run more metres than Latrell. You going to back it up?
Yeah, all right. Let's go that one. I'll go Gutho to run more metres than Latrell. There you go. Thanks, Adam. There you go.
No worries. I'm helping you out. I'm trying to help you out. I'll go through Matt's quickly. I'll read Matt's message. Hey, boys. Still not quite up for it tonight. Matt's still dying there with the Rona. Ills 28-20. Tom Opacek, first try scorer. And not very bold. Reed 40-20. There you go. I'm a little bit disappointed in that one, Matt. But anyway. Anything else? Anyone got anything else to add?
No, he's going to miss his 40. He does that every week.
What's that, eh?
Reed misses his 40-20s every week. Another one in the game the other day. It's so common, the attempt of the play.
Oh, he's due. He's due.
Well, Matty did talk him up for a try the other week, or we haven't seen him do the dart out of dummy half, and he went over and scored.
That's true. So, he got double, yeah.
Yeah,
all right,
so nothing else. Let's just get out there at CommBank Stadium on Friday and cheer on the boys. Hopefully do another win.
As I said, we know South Sydney got a pretty good fan base when they're winning games and they jump on the bandwagon. So I know they'll turn up in massive numbers. So urging all Parramatta fans to get out there. We saw the game against Penrith. There was 27,000 there, and the people that had to travel half an hour could only bring about 1,000 fans there. So I know South Sydney are bring 5,000 or 6,000. The last thing I want to hear is that South Sydney chant rattling around our ground again. That's one thing.
I think if you can get there early enough, I think the New South Wales Cup's on beforehand, I think so.
Yep, I'll be coming down from home, and I've got
two games of footy.
Niece is coming down for the game. We've got to wait for her to finish school, so I'll be there about 5:30, 6 o'clock, grab some food and come in. So that's all we've got time for. So I look forward to seeing you next week, and hopefully we're here celebrating another win because every time Hayden seems to tip against us, we win. So perfect.